Hello. Good morning, everyone. So welcome back to the afternoons the next sections. So now we are glad to have Richard Law from HSBC. He is Managing Director and also Regional Chief Information Officer from HSBC. So we are very lucky to have his support again. I always want to mention that he's actually supporting our event since 3 years ago. So I'm really excited to see Richard again. So Richard, can you hear me well?
I can, Patrick, and it's good to be back. It's good to be one of the originals back.
Yeah, I can see your face and also your voice key as well, and your screen
Right.
should be ready. So let me try to let me pass the stage to you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So this is my third year speaking at the API Days conference, and what I'd like to talk about is a bit about what's changed over the last 2 or 3 years, and how our bank HSBC is leading the march in banking in Asia Pacific, and in particular in the way that we're using API technology to deliver the platform economy. I have some data from Gartner's 22 March Hot Topics survey, and it shows the priority that's being placed on implementing APIs by banking and financial services organisations around the world, and these numbers hold certainly very true for us here in Asia. And if I cast my memory back to the similar sorts of statistics just 2 or 3 years ago, the near ubiquity of APIs as a core part of technology strategy by banks and financial institutions was nowhere near these levels. And what that shows is that the concepts and the principles and the benefits, I guess, that we can accrue from understanding how to best use API technology and how to integrate that into the way we build and orchestrate our technology inside our organizations, and the way that we use it to connect to our customers is really proving out. And quite frankly, today, if you don't have a sophisticated, invested, and appropriately executed API strategy, then you're going to be falling behind. Why do we do it? All the things that I think all of us know. What we're finding, though, is that very much our strategy is being driven by our customers. I'm in the commercial bank, so the customers that I talk about are our incorporated customers, which range from small to medium-sized businesses right up to some of the very largest companies around the world. And really, the main driver behind this is about providing technology integration and capability to keep up with the ever-increasing pace of business. Things that we're seeing out there in commercial banking land is certainly a meteoric rise in the volumes of electronic transactions. The trend was already heading that way prior to the COVID pandemic, but with lockdowns and the changes in the way that we live and work and shop and transact, we've seen very significant acceleration in electronic commerce. And with electronic commerce comes a need to be able to move at an increased pace. And the only way that we're going to be able to move at that increased pace is through technology-enabled connectivity to our customers. And so we've got a strategy which is about providing deep integration to our HSBC services, which of course are going to provide real-time processing and seamless integration to the systems that our customers use. And what's really interesting is that as we've gone along this journey over the last couple of years, we've moved away from sort of a catalogue of services style approach to becoming more like a programmable bank for our customers. We're beyond the idea, or we're sort of evolved now where our customers are thinking creatively about how they're going to use API technology and how they're going to use their ability to integrate to our products and services to innovate and provide better service, better transactions, lower cost of operation, straight through processing, etc., in the business that they do. And that's really exciting for us. As technologists, we like to see the innovation and creativity that the great minds in HSBC have been able to turn into our API offerings and our platform banking offerings, turn into opportunities for new business and new ways of satisfying customers for the clients that we work with. The sorts of things that we are doing are things like access to real-time payments and trade and foreign exchange services. With the meteoric increase, and not only just an increase in the volume of transactions that we're doing, but a bit of a change in the nature of transactions that we're doing. We're seeing more lower value, higher volume transactions. The barriers to trade, ranging from things like large scale international trade down to the sorts of transactions that consumers do with our business customers, means that there are more transactions of a lower volume, and so in order to be able to support those more transactions of a lower volume, we need to be able to embed API-based transaction capability as an offering to our customers into those transaction flows. And so we see great opportunities to use APIs to provide integrated access to things like payments facilities and trade finance facilities and foreign exchange transaction capabilities. Obviously, the world is mobile, and we're doing a lot in the world of mobile-enabled payments and collections. We have a terrific product called our Omni product that allows us to do multi-currency, multi-market API integrated payments and collections. We're also providing richer data to our customers to support the way that they process their transactions, and we're doing that through seamless integration to just about all of the major ERP and accounting vendors that are out there. And the last thing I'd like to mention too is that business, another big change in business that we've seen certainly over the last 10 years, but really increasing, is just the internationalization of business. The 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when you started a business, you'd open a shop front in a single location. If your business went well, you might open a second. If your business continued to grow, you might think about another city in your home country, and then maybe after 5 or 7 years, you might think about starting to go across international borders. Well, nowadays, just about everybody from the day that they open their doors is trading internationally. Electronic commerce and the internet allows us to reach customers in new markets, and so transactional FX and the ability to facilitate that international trade and commerce is made better and faster and more valuable to our customers when we can integrate that capability with APIs. And what we're seeing is that the reach of the demand for these services is not just the big companies. Certainly, our major customers, as I mentioned just a minute ago, they're starting to look for more sophisticated offerings. They're starting to look for co-creation of capability to enhance their offers. But we're also seeing it right down to some of the smallest businesses. And the way that we're reacting to that is that we are providing a new product. It's called HSBC Business Go for people in Hong Kong who are familiar with our Vision Go product. We're adding some tooling to enable our business customers to access API-based services to automate their own process transaction flows, and those are targeted to support even the smallest businesses. And so this for me is like a really exciting evolution again, that we're seeing the proliferation and increasing sophistication of API technology reaching right across the economy, and really helping to facilitate better transactions and better commerce for our customers. One of the things that I think has evolved over the last couple of years, and it really, really is key to the success of API strategy, is the developer experience. And that's a new thing for banks. Banks have traditionally, we've not seen the technologists in the organization, in our customer organizations, as being a key part of the customer chain, and certainly today they are. And as a result of that, I think making sure that we have a product and a service that targets and meets the needs of our customer developers is really important. And so the way that we're doing that is by providing them with the tools and the opportunities to test and trial and play around with the APIs that we have on offer. So we offer a very high quality developer portal and developer sandbox. We are increasingly actively engaging with these people and talking to them about the ways that we can actually continue to evolve and develop new capability, new features to support them, and really talking to them about the things that are from a technologist perspective, and having active and open dialogue about things like security and data protection and privacy, and increasingly in Asia things like data residency and the likes, and the things that are important, like making sure that we're building for scale and that we are creating scalable, elastic, robust infrastructure to support the ambitions and the growth trajectories that our customers are looking for. Developer experience really is a key differentiator. If I think about the times when I've been at the keyboard, you look for the opportunities, the things that are logical, consistent, easy to use. If we make it too hard and make it too complex and are consistent in the way that we offer our API offerings to our customers, then they're just simply going to go somewhere else. And so we spend a lot in terms of thinking about the experience for that developer community and maximizing the utility that we give them. This is backed up by the HSBC portfolio of products. We offer some stuff that many others can't. But if we make it, robust, secure, scalable, easy to use, and provide the tools to trial and test these things, then we're going to be able to provide a high quality experience for those developers. And as I mentioned, it is about a journey. And certainly, the journey that we're seeing is, I personally think that we're very, very early in the days of what I call platform banking and banking as a service. A very important thing about banking is making sure that you are available and you are where your customers are. And certainly more and more of our customers are engaging in commerce and transactions via digital platforms and digital channels. And so we're very committed to making sure that we are at the very front of the market in our platform banking, API-based banking, banking as a service type offerings, and that we're actively listening and engaging with our customers. So I can give a couple of examples of where that's coming true. We're very active in using API technology to enhance our offerings in trade finance. We are the world's largest trade bank, and we by a long way. And so therefore, a big chunk of the world's trade is financed and funded and supported by transactions provided by HSBC. And as I mentioned, those trade patterns are changing. More transactions, more international trade, higher volumes, lower values, etc. And key to that is making sure that we have a first-class, best-in-market offering to support the needs of our customers. So let me just quickly share a little video for you. This shows how we are positioning our product offering for trade finance and our technology-led product offering. Really not so much talking about the bibs and the bobs and the technology specifications, but really talking about it as a facilitator of trade.
How, where, and what we trade is radically changing. Technology is bringing the world closer together, but it also presents a new set of challenges. We'll help you embrace the power of that change, to spark connections, seize fresh opportunities around the world, and break barriers. Shape a stronger, more sustainable supply chain. Trade smarter, safer, and faster, with greater confidence and improved access to financing. At HSBC, that's our commitment, helping business, people, and the planet to thrive through the power of trade. Explore new trade opportunities today.
And I really personally quite like that video, because what it shows is that API technology and an API as an enabler of financial services has gone beyond a technologist discussion. And this is a great exciting time for us technologists, I guess, because now what we're seeing is it becoming an engine of commerce, and the work that we do as leaders in API technology and leaders in the work that we're doing, is that we're creating a new platform for commerce, and that for me is very, very exciting. The second case study that I want to talk to you about is how we're starting to use API technology to change some of the fabric of commerce. I'm very pleased that one of the teams that works in my part of the bank successfully patented what we call our HDSU, our HSBC DLT settlement utility. And this is a piece of technology that actually allows us to go and take distributed ledger transactions, so whether or not it's on a blockchain or another type of distributed ledger, and actually settle in real time the transactions into the traditional payments infrastructure. And we do that with some very robust, very secure, clever API integration technology. I'm very proud of the team. They took a really creative approach to solving, sort of bridging this new world requirement to connect API-based real-time commerce to the traditional rails and infrastructure that we use to move money around the world. And the HDSU now allows us to settle those transactions without human intervention. And that's been one of the challenges, I guess, as this whole industry has evolved, is that without the end-to-end integration, sure, we all like to think about the shiny things at the front of customer experience and platforms and ecosystems and things like that, but we still have to make sure that it works in the world as it is today. And this piece of work by these folks has been really, really terrific in terms of building a scalable and robust technology. So that's really what I wanted to cover. The message, I guess, is as somebody who's been working with Patrick and the API Days team for the last 3 years, I've really enjoyed seeing the evolution of the API marketplace and the API ecosystem, the one that we've built here in Hong Kong, and now I understand that we're building around the world. Because what we're doing is that we, as I said a couple of times, is we're creating a platform for the future of commerce. The future of commerce is connected. It's value-added services. It's improved end-to-end straight-through processing. It's leveraging enhanced and enriched data to do better commerce. But importantly, it's about banks like us working together with technologists like you and our customers to make sure that we're constantly moving this dialogue forward. And thank you again to Patrick and the team for the opportunity to give this little update. And actually in the next slide, anybody wants to find out about what we're doing in trade or what we're doing in other API technology or what we're doing with our HDSU, please don't hesitate to drop me a line. So Patrick, I'm all yours.
Yeah, okay. So, thanks again, Richard. So, yeah, you share some experience about the developer experience, etc. So, I have one quick question to you. Is talking about, okay, everyone is talking about open banking, open API, but we should be thinking, okay, after these 3 years, open API is not actually for everyone. It's for the suitable people. So, from the past experience on for example, in Hong Kong, the open API framework. Is there any quick lesson learned that you can share? For example, you mentioned, oh, the developer experience matter because the partner will not be connect to every bank. They may pick the most suitable bank, and vice versa. Can you share what is the expected effective collaboration from your perspective in API collaboration?
Yeah, look, you know, I think we need to be a little bit patient with some of the open API evolution. The genesis of open banking APIs was really this principle that a bank customer's data is theirs, and they should have access to their data and be able to do with it what they want. And that's sort of what drove the early genesis of open banking. It started in the UK and now it's evolved around the world. But I think as an industry overall, particularly the fintech industry, sort of raced very quickly this notion of access to banking data for customers' banking data to provide services. But there's a little bit of providing a solution looking for a problem. And I think the lesson that we all need to take away from that is that great ideas can be great, but if your customers don't really need them, or if you don't deal with them from a customer's perspective, then it's going to be hard to be successful. And so I think one of the lessons that I take away from the first 3 or 4 years of development of open banking here in Hong Kong is to go and talk to the end user customers and make sure that what you're developing is something they really need, because there are going to be great use cases out there, and the journey. We haven't quite finished the deployment of all the features of open banking in Hong Kong yet. There's still more ways to come. And as we go through time, I think new use cases will emerge. But if you don't start with a customer, then you're running around with a hammer looking for a nail, and maybe there aren't any nails to hit, right? So I do encourage everybody to start with the customers and work your way back.
Okay. So I also see your slide talking about some upcoming strategies, banking as a service, and you mentioned your brand, our networks, and I believe that a lot of people should be interested into that one. So besides the technologies or operation, do you think the brand or actually the context or trust that the third-party partner is very important if they want to partner with the bank?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I always say that the biggest thing that we have as a bank, HSBC has a bank, is trust. When you put your money in the bank, you trust that it's safe. You trust that we're going to look after it, and you also trust that we're going to look after your data and your privacy and your confidentiality and things like that. And certainly, as we start looking at the organisations that we're willing to partner with for. And I think we're talking here about the use cases where we're embedding our services in third-party marketplaces or ecosystems and things like that. We have very high expectations that they're going to follow the same principles of trust and integrity that we do. The reality is that our brands are out there together, and even though we might be providing a service in ABC platform, it is still HSBC, and so. Making sure that we're dealing with reputable organisations that have the discipline and the commitment to security and provide privacy and confidentiality is a really important thing. So it's a very good point, and it's something that entrepreneurs and fintechs need to be conscious of as they pursue opportunities, because it is something that needs to be deliberate. It needs to be planned, and it needs to be invested in building a secure, robust, and trust-based platform that we can then offer our partner our services through.
Okay, so thanks, Richard. So yeah, why I ask so because in the past few years we has a lot of question. Okay, I want to partner with bank and the bank is not open enough, but we slowly can observe that this is actually a two-way collaboration, and then we need to build trust and then find the suitable angles to work together. So I hope that Richard's sharing can give some insight to some early fintech what they should do earlier. Maybe also how to build a trusted use case with the bank to open up the collaborations. So I think the
Yep.
time is almost up. So thanks again for Richard's support, and
Thanks,
then
mate.
hopefully we can see you next year again and physically. Yeah, thanks for
Mate,
support.
I think I have to come. Like, as one of the few who's been to all of them, I think you've just invited me again, so I'll see you next year.
Yeah, okay, thanks again, Richard. Okay, see you soon.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
bye-bye. Okay, so thanks Richard from HSBC to share their insights or about how they do in the API use cases. So the next one, we are very excited to have Gary Ho from AXA. He is the CTO from AXA Macau and Hong Kong. So he will be talking about how the insurance industry leverage API. So thanks again, Gary. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very good. Can you hear me okay,
Okay.
Patrick?
Yeah, I can hear your voice loud and clear. And maybe I just want to see whether your screen is okay. Okay, it's all good. Okay. So thanks, Gary's time. So let me pass the time to you for your sharing. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Patrick, and the invitation from yourself and the API Days. My pleasure today to sharing our experience on API and data. And in our section today, we will share more about the digital ecosystem powered by the API and the big data. All right, so well, I think on this slide we are going to share the data-driven strategy in the insurance domain sector. I think not many people are aware of, from insurance, we have tons of the data. Well, that coming from our customer, be it, is about their policy data, the claims data, their health record, not to mention, now we have the digital transformation. They're using our digital tools. By then we have a lot of the digital footprint, also the social media data. So look at the slide, right, on the left-hand side. In order to consolidate all the internal across the service line and the external data into our so-called as the integrated data platform, or in our company called the digital backbone. So what's the secret sauce and the key driver on this slide we sharing why we need to have the next gen data platform to support the company to become a data-driven company. You look at on the right hand side, in the past from insurance is kind of the product driven mentality, but now we're talking about the customer experience, all the product and service that we launch and to create it for our customer is customer driven. Also, you're talking about the timing. In the past, right? A lot of the sales activities or the campaign within the insurance industry is kind of very static. Well, like a monthly promotion, seasonal promotion, or the birthday promotion, etc. But now, the people is talking about the real time. How we understand more about our customer, their behavior, especially like, okay, our Mr. VIP customer, like in the morning time, they're visiting to the hospital. So whether they are visiting their family or friends, do they have the moment change, whether they have the new baby born, so that we will have push some of the real times next best offer to our customer. That is something is a crucial, and there's a huge demand from the business, especially in the insurance domain industry. Next one, we're talking about the demand of the channel. In the past, the channel primarily is a silo channel, be it the digital channel, call services, or even by paper. But now in 2022, we're talking about the omni-channel experience. So whether the customer is to accessing our product and services through our digital touchpoint, or they are connecting to our contact center or our chatbot, voice bot, or even our insurance agent. The experience we're talking about is omni-channel and digital, that they can in the morning time they call to the agent for some of the new products they are interested. In the evening time they can complete the service transaction through our call center. That is so-called the omni-channel experience for our customer, and that's the needs from our business. The last one we're talking about the maturity level. We all understand, right? In past few years, from the financial services, most of the banking, the retail banking or the insurance player, they are in digital transformation. The digital first, mobile first, that to provide a lot of a digital touch point. Well, the digital, what's the differences compared with tradition? If it is a paper form, right, or the many processes, we can't achieve, the operation efficiency with the straight-through processing. Also, traditional, if a lot of the human interaction is difficult for us to tapping the conversation, the user behavior, the customer demand or what they need in the past. But now, after the digital transformation, you can imagine, right, all the information is on the fingertips of our customer on the digital devices. And at the same time, as an insurance company, we can capture all this information, the customer behavioral data into our backend system. And in the middle part of this slide is talking about the analytics enablement. How we based on the data, be it the internal data from our customer, the digital behavioral data, or even the social media data from the external, to do the propensity machine learning analysis, by then to provide the personalized offer and services for our customer. That is so-called as the data-driven strategy in the insurance sector. The next slide, we understand in today's section, the API Day, right? We have a lot of the technology professional, the enterprise architect, the CTO. Also, we have a lot of the business counterpart, the business colleague, like the product owner, etc., to attend this section. So on this slide, we're talking more about, okay, in previous slide, we're sharing about the business needs, the business strategy to become a data-driven company. And on this slide, we're talking about, from the technology department, how do we react? How do we react to our business needs, right? So you were seeing, right, in the bottom side, again, we have so many fragmented data, be it the internal data across the service line, be it the live data, the employee benefit, the data from our group health data, or the general insurance data. Also, as said, right, within the insurance sector, we have gone through the whole insurance life cycle. We do have the underwriting record, the claims record, or different policy servicing record. Not to mention the external data now coming from the social media channel that is also tapping into one single platform. Even a lot of the insurer now, we're not only talking about the customer 360. In fact, we're talking about the customer 720. What does it mean 720? Well, because it's composite, not only the internal data, but also included the external data from the social media platform or some of the digital partners as a whole to provide more insights of our customer. So other than different data, you've seen in the middle side, we have, as said, is the integrated data platform, or in AXA, we call it as the digital backbone. So the digital backbone or integrated data platform, in fact, is the end-to-end data platform, is handle the data governance, the data management, is also the data access to provide, well, it's kind of the microservices in place that provide the services through the open API, not only for our internal digital application, but also for our partners. Well, you can imagine traditional the insurance company, their partners, well, mainly like the banker partner, the retail bank partners. Also, the traditional banking, they will partner with the healthcare provider, hospital, etc. But on the subsequent slide, we will walk through more the non-traditional partners that the another new opportunities within the insurance sector. So go back to this slide. We're talking about the integrated data platform. You see in the middle part, we not only has the data governance or the data lake that, you know, to provide the holistic view, customer 360 view data for our customer, but also we understand from our business, regardless, you know, the business is driving the top lines for sales, or, you know, from operation, like from the claims department, they still need to leverage those data provided by the technology function to do the analysis, to do the prediction, to do the propensity analysis. So you see in the right in the middle right part, we do have the AI machine learning different capability that, you know, our data scientists can base on some of the open technology that they can do the propensity analysis. Also, you know, within the analytics domain is definitely is included the business intelligence, the data visualization tools. You know, in the industry, there's so many tools that's available within the company. That is also the critical tools for our data scientists, our actuary, also for our operation. They can do different kind of the analysis to understand more our customer, be it, you know, to benefit or for the sales or for the operation. So about the microservices, well, I think everyone is understand API and data, they are tightly coupled. About the data, how we can unlock the data from our database to our partners or to our internal digital touchpoint. That is one of the key parts. That's why within our company we promote the microservices concept, and also you see on this slide we do promote to decoupling, to have the domain driven design concept in our microservices, so that, you know, we can decoupling of the services ourselves to provide our digital channels or for our partners. In that way, you know, even we won't have one single point of failure that will occur if, you know, the backend system have any hiccup, because we all understand within the financial services sector by now the backend system is still the mainframe system. So that's why we need to have these domain-driven microservices layer, or we call it as a digital layer, to decoupling our backend system. Think of one of the use cases. If the Mr. Customer, they need to do the fund switching. Well, we understand right now in the financial market is very volatile. Well, in the past, right, the fund switching, it could be only done once per year or once per quarter. But, you know, now it could be the case we do once per week. So if you think of, right, is very a bad user experience if the customer, they do the fund switching by then, you know, because the mainframe system that is have the system downtime. So in that way, that the power of the digital backbone or the microservices of these digital layer, that we can provide a queuing mechanism. No matter, you know, the backend system has any hiccup, you know, we can still temporarily store the transaction request, you know, be it as the fund switching request or the claims request from our customer. By then, when the backend system is resumed the services, we will resubmit the transaction on behalf of our customer to our backend system. So that you can imagine the API microservices is very important nowadays to support the company in the digital transformation journey. On the next slide, as we described before, within the insurance, we do have a lot of the partners, the external partners, like named in this slide, like the retail banking, the hospital, the different non-traditional partners that we will cover in the next slide. One of the benefits of the API and the microservices is the speed. Is the speed to market. Well, we understand, right? Different external partners, they do have different requirements. They need very fast to roll out their services into the market so that they can capture the market. So with the API, that is one of the simplest and easiest and faster way to connect with the external partners, with the insurance player. Also, the API is not just for the purposes of the integration. In fact, we also help the company to manage the whole life cycle management. Life cycle management, what does it mean? If there's a new external partners they need to onboard, we will have, like the API portals to allow the partners to subscribe to services provided by the insurance player. Also, we do have some of the plug and play components. Well, primarily is the API provided to the external partners that they can consume for the services provided by the insurance company. Also, with the API that can power the straight-through processing, that can increase the efficiency gain for our customer. The efficiency gain, it could be the case, in the past, the claims might need to take a week time. Now, with these kind of the cutting edge technology being adopted, that we can provide some sort of, we call it as the one-click buy or one-click claim services to provide our customer to increase the customer experience going forward. About the digital ecosystem, we do shared before in Paris that, again, the insurance partners is more focusing on the banker partners, or like the hospital. Well, the hospital you might not aware of, is in the hospital. In fact, there's a lot of the collaboration with the insurance player, like the pre-approval, these kind of the capability to allow the customer or the patient that they can get the pre-approval before they get into the hospital for the surgery, for example. Also, now in the hospital or the clinic, they do install some of the terminal provided by the insurance player that after they discharge from the hospital, they can directly file the claims form and send it to the insurer on the fingertips. All of these capability is also powered by the API capability to integrate it with different external partners within the ecosystem. One thing would like to mention and emphasize in here is traditional partners is already running in the industry for many years. But within these few years, that the insurance player is find some of the greenfield area, or we call it as the next gen digital ecosystem. Like in the slide, you can imagine like the transportation, retail, aviation, travel booking platform, or the personal properties company. They also might need to selling the protection for their own customer. So it is a very good opportunities to partnership with those with the large customer base player within the Hong Kong or even in the Greater Bay Area. The concept is those partners, they are selling some sort of the micro insurance. Micro insurance is something like, is the small ticket size, but, with the large customer base. But, that can provide a huge effect for the insurance player. You can imagine, after the customer is buying the buying the microinsurance from those non-traditional partners, say for example is the aviation for some of the travel delay product, for example, or some of the transportation retailer insurance, for example, in fact, is also kind of the new leads for the company that that we can drive the upsell and cross sales with more large ticket size product to those customers. Also, you can imagine those non-traditional partners, they are digital enabled. They are digital enabled, even more advanced compared with the financial services. Well, not the financial services is more laid back, but just because financial services, we are being highly regulated by the governance body. That's why at some point that I would say those non-traditional partners, they are a very digital advanced, and as a result, a lot of the information or the data, behavioral data that they can collect, and this also one of the source that allow us to provide some of the machine learning propensity to provide some sort of the personalized services or the product for those customer and the agent. Okay, so that is the last slide of my today sharing. I pass it back the control to Patrick of the Q&A section. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Gary. I do see the audience as they love the data governance part. so you talk about the data governance model, and then there's some audience that they really like that part. So for the you mentioned about the data and API is highly coupled, and I do agree. So I think for insurance company like AXA, you have a lot of data, and what do you see some challenges if we don't have a proper maybe data strategy or governance in place? What is the drawback if we don't actually focus on that kind of area? And will it be wasting some of the monetization opportunity, etc.? Can you share a bit on that one?
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, that definitely the data governance and the data management is very important for the insurance company. Well, you can, well, as go back to the beginning of the first slide, we're talking about within the insurance company we have tons of the data. Well, not to mention the external data, but within the internal we have a lot of the policy data, the claims record, the underwriting record, health record, etc. So many data. Well, also the call center, we have a lot of the voice recording, right? So I would say, right, even within internal, we have more than enough data, and is also fragmented within the company. So the pain point, the hot button is you think of those data that is well, when the customer is buying the insurance policy, it could be the case they already buy the policy 20 years ago. But you think of, right, 20 years ago, whether the customer, they do have the mobile number in their application, or whether their residential address is correct after 20 years, that's not sure. That's why, right, within the company, but we all understand, right, if we want to pursue as the data-driven company, that we need to have the data governance and data management about the data quality, so that we can have a more precise machine learning propensity analysis to provide more precise personalization service and offer for the customer. So that's why, like in the second slide, when we share more about our digital backbone, or the so-called the integrated data platform, we think of the data governance and data management is very, very important. But just one point to supplement, right, about the data governance, definitely it is a journey. This is a journey for every company. In about the data governance, there's three things that we need to focusing, be it for the CIO, CDO, CTO, the three things. Well, I think the first things most of the company already handle is about to available the data. But the second thing is how we drive the adoption of the data to drive the company to the new heights. I would say not every company is fully leverage the data, or it's a chicken and egg problem. The data is not yet ready. That's why our business can't fully leverage the data. So okay, first is the data availability. Second is the data adoption within the company. The third one is, I do mention the previous example, is about the data quality. The data quality is the most challenging part in every financial services company. How do we safeguard and to resolve these data quality problems to drive the new heights for the company as a data-driven company, I would say.
Okay, got that. So I do hear about there's a lot of data and different kind of data fragmentations and different kind of unstructured data, etc. So we can see a lot of challenges. Some people may expect, okay, whether I need to have a data scientist to clean that, etc. So I think this is a very, very, very difficult and very challenging topic. So in that perspective, may I understand correctly? So API is actually helping for the adoption, because the API itself is not actually helping to clean the data, fragment the data, but when you make it available, when you actually make it structure, and then it helps you to scale out inside your company or even out to the different partner. Is it what you also think in this way? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. So yeah.
Okay.
So
So
as Patrick, you did
sorry,
mention.
keep going.
Yes, as Patrick, you did mention, API definitely is how do we unlock the company data, not only for our internal digital touchpoint, but also for our external partners. So it is the key driver to make the data available and to drive the adoption for our business. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the time is almost up, but actually I think the audience and we do have many questions want to reach out to Gary for more, especially for the non-traditional digital payer part, which is having I believe some of the audience will be interested in that part as well. So maybe we will reach out offline, and then hopefully we can have some extended discussion or other section for you. So thanks again, Gary, for your support on today. Okay, thanks. So
Thanks, Patrick.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, see you soon. Thank you, Gary. Okay, so thanks Gary for the sharing from the insurance sector angle about the data and API. So we here come to another sections. Unluckily, our speaker Lawson from APIscene is unavailable to do the live sections, but he passed us his recording actually a few days ago. So we will try to paste his recording talk talking about the how the the impact and the innovation of the adoption for the API in enterprise transformation.
Hello and good morning. Thank you for joining this session on innovation and impact, where I'm delighted to share more about some of our experiences with APIs in enterprise transformation. I'm Nelson, and today we have a short, snappy agenda. I start with a little bit about myself and why we're even taking the stage to share about enterprise transformation. Then I go into some of the innovations that we've seen powered by APIs. Next is how to get impact from using APIs, because it's really about business value at the end of the day. And then very briefly close on iteration, because it's an approach that we've seen work very effectively, particularly if you're driving towards an enterprise transformation. And so to kick off, a little bit about myself to set the scene. I'm Nelson Chan. I lead financial services business development for AWS across Hong Kong and Taiwan. And so I started on the technical side, initially in government, and then moved into strategy consulting. And then I moved into the business side with banks across Australia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And now I'm lucky enough to bridge the technical and the business sides with AWS, try my best to connect that ecosystem of our financial services customers with the financial services and the fintech ecosystems. And so I'm in a team that's dedicated to financial services. And this is just to let you know that there'll be a financial services flavor to this session. And I'm one of our financial services industry specialists, background mostly in banking, as you saw. And I work very closely with my regional and global counterparts, who might be industry specialists like myself. They might also be security, risk, or compliance specialists, including from regulators like HKMA. Or they may be technology specialists with depth and breadth in all types of technology. And of course, I'm from Amazon Web Services, which is important to explain a little bit further because there's lots of different misconceptions about what is cloud. And so we're a cloud company, which doesn't mean we rent out services and data centers by the month or by the year. We're a cloud services company, which means we make available IT services via APIs. Over 200 IT services available via APIs today on demand. So it's turn on, turn off right away with no contractual lock-in. It's pay as you go. In some cases, even millisecond billing like AWS Lambda, which is our service offering. So you use 1 millisecond of compute, you pay for 1 millisecond of compute. You use 2 milliseconds, pay for 2 milliseconds. You can splurge and go up to 3 or 4 milliseconds if you really want. And you can see some of the breadth of the services that are available here on this page. Bonus points if you can spot quantum computing as a service, because that's the sort of thing that's now available via API with AWS. I won't give out points for blockchain or machine learning or security services though, because there's a collection of services there and you can see them grouped together with their own headings. And so the power of APIs is recognized. And I want to get into financial services, which is a space I'm most familiar with. We see financial services, we see financial institutions of all types transforming on AWS with the power of APIs. And today's sharing comes from our experience with engaging these customers and with many of our other customers. On screen, we have some of the customers kind enough to let us use their logos. And so it's these customers as well as the other customers where we draw the lessons learned and the sharings. And they're all using APIs to tap into a range of AWS services to get benefits across the spectrum. Only one of which is cost savings. Admittedly, this is what drives them to initially explore the cloud in most cases. What we do hear from our customers though is that it's the other benefits that are more important, such as reducing time to market, enabling faster and easier market expansion, and even improving recruitment and retention of their own technology talent. And it's by changing their operating model and technology stack to leverage API architectures and the power of cloud that they're able to form new partners, create new propositions, and really deliver value. And so some of my favorite call-outs when it comes to what's happening in this space, one of which is integrated ecosystems, where standardized APIs enable rapid and seamless integration with third parties and partners. Some digital native fintech examples are Starling Bank in the UK. They offer a financial services marketplace that's facilitated by APIs. Solaris Bank in Germany, banking as a service is available, but so is crypto trading as a service as well. Then there's embedded finance, where we see banks and financial institutions allow their solutions and capabilities to be embedded into other companies, quite often outside of financial services. There's integrated data sets, which makes this list because of the focus on ESG right now. Carbon footprints, as well as key sustainability and governance data sets, are all available via APIs. I know this because we have the likes of FactSet and Arabesque hosting their ESG data on AWS Data Exchange. AWS Data Exchange is like Amazon.com, but just for data feeds. You can just go in there, pick the data feed you want, connect via APIs to pull it in. And then crucially, seamless customer experiences. We are seeing the promise of omni-channel experiences come true. In person, customer contact, and digital channels, they're now being integrated using APIs, with their interaction data being pooled so that the best product and service for those customers can be recommended. And as an example of how APIs are driving innovation, let's take a look at the concept of a data lake. Because while we talk about a data lake, it's really a collection of different services bound together with APIs. And it's because APIs lets us easily connect all these different services that data lakes are just so powerful and foundational for doing analytics in this era of big data. And for me, there's two capabilities that I really love. One is going beyond structured data. I mentioned that I started my own career on the technical side, actually as a database administrator for a while. And my career, or my job then, was much easier because if it wasn't normalized data, I could say no. Can't help you, it's not normalized, go normalize it, then come back. Can't normalize it, can't help you. But that's not true anymore because semi-structured and unstructured data can now be easily supported. So that's one big difference in how the technology has evolved, and it really has been facilitated by APIs. The other capability that I really admire, and this comes from the business side, is the ability to capture data lineage. Being able to use things like AWS Glue to crawl and catalog the data so that you can see where the data originated from, how it transformed, and how it converged with other data sets throughout its life cycle. As a business user, that lets me go back and understand the history of the data and let me make my judgments about how I should interpret it, not just the raw data set, but also the insights and analytics that I'm seeing that come out the other side. And if you want a more concrete example of the different AWS services coming together in a data lake, here is a sample reference architecture for financial services. It's one that can support fraud detection, credit risk, marketing, and even converting your own data into a revenue stream. But today is not the time to dwell on technical architectures because I want to talk about business value. I want to talk about the impact that APIs can have for an enterprise and the role that they have within an enterprise transformation. And maybe this isn't the answer that you're going to be expecting. Because why don't I share this story by starting with Amazon? Amazon, where our mission is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. Because why would APIs have a role in being Earth's most customer-centric company? APIs actually have a very crucial role. It's a necessary role, but I wouldn't say it's a sufficient role. It's a foundational ingredient of how we enable our own innovation and how we operate at speed and at scale, but there's other ingredients that are necessary as well. On this page, APIs, they're situated within architecture because it's what allows us to have microservice architectures and loosely coupled applications. And I'm showing this page because there are other ingredients that you can see. We have architecture, we have culture, we have mechanisms, we have organization, and these are all important ingredients. something else that I won't dive into today, but it's a story that we're very happy to share, and we're always looking forward to sharing this story. We call it Our Culture of Innovation, where we explain in a lot more detail about how each of these pieces work and how they come together to enable innovation. Feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you want to hear about this story, but I'm just sharing this right now because it sets the scene of how APIs are a necessary but not sufficient ingredient within enterprise transformation. Of the 4 ingredients, architecture, culture, mechanisms, and organization, they need to be brought together. And the natural question is, how do you bring them together? And our answer to this is with a flywheel, an ever-spinning cycle that we begin with customer experience. To be Earth's most customer-centric company, we need to start with the customer experience. And that's what we work backwards from this idea of how can we delight our customers? How can we reimagine our products and services to excite and thrill them? And then by delighting our customers, this creates more demand. More demand brings more interactions and feedback, more information that gives us insight, which then lets us create even more products to delight the customer. And so as we go through this cycle, we generate operational efficiencies, which brings down costs, which we can then pass on to the customers, and that tends to make them happy as well. And so as an example of how we've been able to operationalize this, we've been able to bring over 100 price reductions for AWS services since we launched in 2006. And so the key message that I'm hoping to share with you today is to remember that APIs are important and that culture and organization is just as important as the technology. And so as some key takeaways from what we're seeing with our customers and from within Amazon, multidisciplinary teams, that's the first one. They work. I've been in functional teams and product teams, and I see the best results when different skill sets and perspectives are brought together. Being able to start small and move fast actually gets you to achieving a think big result faster. Another takeaway is being a champion of learning, particularly learning from failures, because this is something that everyone needs to support at all levels, across all functions and businesses of any enterprise. And of course, always having a focus on speed of decision making. Super valuable across the entire enterprise. We recognize that there's one-way doors that require more time and reflection, but most of the time, decisions are two-way doors that can be made quickly, and if there's any problems, you can go back without any problems. And recognizing that difference between one-way doors and two-way doors really makes a difference to speed. And so these are some of the things that we've found that really make a difference from a culture and organization lens. And we need to bring this together with key organizational capabilities, because that's how you deliver value with APIs. And here are 5 capabilities that I feel are always worth asking yourself, how can they be stronger? I start with customer obsession. The ability to understand customers and work backwards from their needs to continuously adapt to them. As Jeff Bezos previously said, customers are wonderfully, beautifully dissatisfied. And that's what should really drive us to make changes. Another capability, organized for value. The ability to focus on value-adding business processes and being able to use data to control those processes and drive efficiency. Experimentation is key. The ability to experiment and innovate through small increments, but with high frequency, is something that we've seen really work. You can call it test and learn. Secure and resilient technology at the core. That is a capability that's true for pretty much every organization these days. The ability to simplify and automate IT and its operations, and being also able to easily and reliably integrate new technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, where we're seeing a lot of demand. And by being able to easily and quickly integrate them into the businesses, that's how we see value being delivered faster. And then the last capability I'd like to call out, strategic use of data. The ability to remove siloed data sources to drive decision making and use that data to consistently deliver better quality decisions to drive the right goals throughout the business. And so when I first joined AWS about 2 years ago, I don't think I fully understood this. I mentioned that I worked in the business side and I'd worked in the technology side, even in strategy consulting and even directly to CEOs. And I think it's only after I joined AWS that I began to see the true transformational power of technology. That is, when it's properly coupled and aligned with the business operating model. Technology by itself, without the other side of the equation, just didn't deliver the same value. And so, with all our focus on APIs today, I wanted to share this reminder that APIs also need to thrive internally. To deliver impact, they need an internal ecosystem, a cultural and organizational ecosystem to deliver that value. And so there's many ingredients to a successful enterprise transformation, and APIs, I strongly believe, is near the top of that list. It's a necessary ingredient, but it's not sufficient in itself. And so I want to close on this slide because it's just reinforcement that you really need a flywheel that keeps building up on your successes, because this is what drives enterprise transformation. Another way of thinking about it is one API won't do the trick. You can have one API, it helps you drive that flywheel in some way, but then once you've done it, you get value from it. Can you drive more value? What are the other APIs that you should be using to continually drive value? We start from customer experience and how we can delight the customer, and I think it's a fair question. How do you do that with APIs? And I think the key message here is it's not going to be an overnight success story. It's more a 20-year overnight success story, if you've heard that phrase before. Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the point is that overnight success stories usually involve a lot of hard work behind the scenes first that build up those small wins before snowballing into bigger wins, before really having an impact in the market. And so iterating through improving customer experience enabled by APIs, that's how we've seen the most successful transformations. So I hope you found this session useful, covering the innovations that are possible with APIs, how delivering impact with APIs requires multiple ingredients, and the power of iteration, not just settling for one API or one success, but building on those successes, building on those successful API integrations, and continuing to repeat that. So I want to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, feedbacks, or even ideas, please do reach out. I hope you enjoy the rest of the API Days conference.
Okay, so thanks Nelson's sharing about his talk on the innovation and impact for the adoption API for enterprise transformations. So here come to our next section. So let's welcome Jonathan. He is the director in open banking and API from Standard Chartered Bank. And hello, Jonathan, can you hear me well? Okay, so thanks Lelson's sharing about his talk on the innovation and impact for the adoption API for enterprise transformations. So here come to our next section. So let's welcome Jonathan. He's the director in open banking and API from Standard Chartered Bank. And hello, Jonathan. Can you hear me well? Okay, so thanks Lelson's sharing about. Hello.
Hi, Patrick. Can you hear me well?
Yeah. I think there's a delay. I think you are checking the voice. Can you check the StreamYard audio? Can you hear me? Hello.
So first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Patrick's invitation, and also from the organizer API. So it's good to be here. I hope that we will see each other physically, in next year. But anyway, so actually the topic that I'm going to share about today is about the open banking ecosystem on three things: development, progress so far, challenges, and opportunity. So to quickly introduce myself, my name is Jonathan. So I work for Standard Chartered Hong Kong, covering the open banking API and partnership piece in the retail banking space in the last 3 years. So in today's short presentation, I think we have three things to cover. Number one is about the global landscape, about how open API looks like in different regions globally. And the second area that I would like to share is about the use cases of open bankings we have been using in Standard Chartered Hong Kong and in other markets. And finally, if time allows, we may be covering some challenges and opportunities in the open API landscape. So to start with, I think the open banking movement started about 4 or 5 years ago in the UK and Europe, which is the PSD2. So actually, it's been a few years from now. And I think that kind of open banking movement is like expanding in Asia with time. So currently, we see that there are two broad types of open banking models. On the left-hand side of the screen, for example, the UK, the EU, and Australia, they are using more like a legislative approach. That is, mandating banks to, they really have to share their data to TSP for open banking. And if you're not doing that, you will risk, have some trouble with your banking license. So on the left-hand side, which is more like the mandatory approach that once a partner meets some requirement, the banks you have to share the customer data. So it's more like the mandatory basis. And on the right-hand side, which is like the Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong markets, it's more like a market-driven approach. So it's up to the banks to decide whether, it's up to a bank's decision to collaborate with a partner. So it's more like a case-by-case approach. And we see different outcomes with these kind of two broad categories. So to start with, in the UK or the EU model, you can see a lot of use cases on data aggregation. For example, you may heard about people talking about the challenges of people move houses in their lifetime more often than they switch banks. So one of the key use cases so far we can see in open banking in the European model is about data aggregation. So allowing individual retail banking customers or SME customers to aggregate their account balances, within their own single banking app, so that they can plan the saving goals using some personal financial management capabilities to plan their finance. And of course, the ultimate goal, I believe that is to allow and facilitate customer can switch banks, the bank account easier from one bank to another, so that you don't need to go to branches and filling in forms and all that kind of logistics. So that kind of data aggregation has become more popular use case in the European model. While in Asia, we see a little bit of different use cases. For example, in Singapore, maybe some of the audience here also heard about the SG Findex. Actually, this is a Singaporean government-driven platform that once a Singaporean citizen, you register their SingPass ID, that actually you are able to log into the SG Findex platform, and where you can aggregate data from 7 banks like Citibank, Standard Chartered, DBS, HSBC, etc. And also you can aggregate, for example, government data, for example, your housing loan, HDB loans, tax bills, and other account balances, so that you can see the overall financial position, across different banks. So I think that is another example that the platform is driven by the government, and it allows banks to connect to it, so that it facilitates this kind of financial aggregation by the general consumers. And in Taiwan, we see similar things happening. For example, the Taiwan Deposit and Clearing Corporation, the TDCC, actually is another also government-owned platform. They issue the e-passbook app. So basically, they allow us this kind of account aggregation across banks and security firms, so that individual customers can see the overall financial position in one single app. So basically, this Taiwan TDCC passbook, I would say, it has a similar concept of the Singaporean SG Findex. And it comes to Hong Kong. So how about Hong Kong? Hong Kong is a little bit different because the regulator, they are using more like a market-driven approach. So we don't have a government-owned platform comparing to the Singaporean and Taiwanese counterparts. However, we can see that the HKMA is progressing a lot on the open API landscape. So I'm sure that many of the audience here have heard about the 4-phase approach by HKMA. So far, since 3 years ago, the banking industry has done the phase 1 and 2. And the next big thing is, of course, coming to the phase 3, which is requiring the banks to have the capabilities to share customer data, for example, on their bank account balance to the external parties. So I think what is going to we so-called the next big thing for Hong Kong in terms of open API, I think the entire ecosystem would be looking forward to the phase 3 launches on the open API function. So you can see HKMA even make a headline in one of the newspapers saying that they are making a best effort to facilitate and encourage banks to mutually open the API. So the phase 3 scope is about apply to both retail and SME customers. So the general concept is like upon getting customer consent, of course, in some kind of standardized journey, it allows us the bank to retrieve customer data, 4 types of data: deposit account information, including the account availability. For example, whether Mr. Customer, if you have a bank account in Bank A, so it returns some kind of yes or no. And then the account status, for example, whether this account of Mr. Customer is active or inactive. And then, of course, the account balance, for example, how many Hong Kong dollars, US dollars in your account. And finally, the transaction history of your deposit account, so that, with an aim to hopefully create more new commercialization model with these type of data points. So you can see at the below side, actually, HKMA also published a timeline regarding, how they are requiring different banks to have these capabilities developed in different timelines. So I think I believe that the banking industry right now is like working hard towards this goal. So this is the first part of the presentation, and today the second part is about sharing some type of use cases that Standard Chartered Hong Kong from the retail banking perspective, and also some other key use cases globally that we have seen gain popularity. So in Hong Kong, we do partner with a lot of mortgage brokers. So we with this kind of open API framework, we are able to capture these kind of mortgage leads real time to from these like mortgage partners. So I think the incentive for us to do this type of API is that in the past we have to require customers to fill in multiple papers and forms. First of all, it's time consuming, tedious, and not environmental friendly. So with these API connectivity with different banks and mortgage partners, we allow the real-time lead captures into our mortgage sales so that we can most probably real-time to respond to customer inquiry so that we can hopefully offer a better rate and better services and more instant response to customers who are looking forward to mortgage application, because you see now interest rate is going up. So I think this type of real-time lead captured would help ultimately the customers to gain a better competitive offer, because you can see different banks are able to get similar customer leads from the mortgage broker. So it ultimately it encourages the bank to give better or more competitive offers to attract the customers. So this is the first type of use cases we have seen in Hong Kong. And the second type is about instant onboarding. So for Standard Chartered Hong Kong, we partner with two key companies. One is I'm sure many of you also have the Asia Miles, the Cafe co-brand card. And another co-brand card we launched last year is the Alipay Q card. So actually both use cases, we leverage open API technologies from behind to, on the front end, it allows us the instant approval for simple products like credit card or personal loan or even bank account. And at the back end, we allows us with these API capabilities, we allow the instant approval, pulling different internal or external data systems so that we don't need to ask the customers to wait 10 days or weeks before this result comes in. So we see that we believe that this type of co-brand card or personal loan, a banking account opening would be gaining more popularity with the use of API empowerment architecture integration with the partners. So these are the two use cases we see are gaining traction in Standard Chartered Hong Kong from a retail banking perspective. So the next use case is a bit about the banking as a service model that we are doing in some other Southeast Asia market. I'm sure you heard about the banking as a service, this kind of white label concept. So SC Ventures, another subsidiary of Standard Chartered, we actually partners with two large-scale e-commerce platforms named the Bukalapak and Sosla in Indonesia. So these kind of e-commerce company, they have a handful of customers. However, because these e-platforms, they don't have a banking license, so the role of Standard Chartered is to offer the technology stack, so to say, so that we allow to offer them an array of financial service capabilities. For example, in the e-commerce platform, for example, allowing customers to open a bank account or make an instant loan or installment loan when they purchase some furniture or some groceries or different things on the e-commerce platform. So these type of banking as a service, I would see that is leading to the rise of open finance or embedded finance in the future, because I believe that the power of API does not rest within the banking industry, but it allows us this kind of cross-industry collaboration, for example, between bank and a telco, bank and a retail banking, and the retail bank and the e-commerce, so that all in all, we can leverage the best of both worlds. For example, maybe the banks may not be super proficient in engaging millennials, and we see that these e-commerce platform, they have a great way to attract millennials, Generation Z. So we believe that instead of we reaching out to all these customers by ourselves, we partner with them, we empower these platforms with this kind of banking as a service capability, so that ultimately we are still serving these millennial customers, but in a open banking or open finance manner. So yeah, this is I see that this is one of the key trends that we see will gain more traction globally, leveraging the API architecture and capability at the backend. So with time is limited, if you would like to know more about the Standard Chartered API capabilities globally, please feel free to visit this globally API portal from Standard Chartered, and I hope you will see more amazing API suite from the bank. And yeah, so I think that's the end of my presentation, and I look forward to any questions, from Patrick or from the audience. Yeah, and I hope to see you soon, physically next year in Hong Kong.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Let me try to test the voice. Can you hear me now? Okay, I think you are actually seeing the live. Maybe you need to go to turn on the backstage view. Can you hear me? Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, so I think there may be some minor technical issues here. So I will try to cascade the question. If you have any, I will try to reach out Jonathan offline and then try to share what his response. So feel free to reach us out or reach Jonathan offline for the event. So thanks, Jonathan. So maybe I will get contact with you offline first. Thank you. So see you, Jonathan. Thank you. Okay. So I apologize for the technical issues. So if you have any question, feel free to reach me out, and I will try my best to reach out Jonathan for the response. So he is the wrap of our morning sections. So okay, maybe let me share my slide here. So this is almost 12:30, so it is almost the lunch hours. So if you are having lunch and maybe want to explore a bit on the API information, etc. from our sponsors, feel free to go to the part of Lineage. So you can also try to pay the treasure hunt to get the 4,000 gift from the campaign here. So feel free to leverage there. And then, okay, so you can actually explore what is happening from our sponsors and community partners. Okay, so this afternoon we will resume our afternoon section around 1:15. So we will still have 3 different tracks. One is the industrial track, more on the industrial insight and then the use cases. The second track will be the architecture track, and we still have different roundtable and workshop in this afternoon. So thanks for your participation this morning, and see you soon in 1:15. Thank you.